Hello and welcome from the Farm Progress Show here in the media tent. I'm Chuck Zimmerman, and with me here I have Gene Hemphill with New Holland. That's the sponsor for the media tent, as well as the sponsor of our coverage on agwire.com. So Gene, first of all, I'd like you to give me a little overview of all the types of equipment, things you've got on display here this year for farmers coming out to Farm Progress Show.
Well, I think I'd probably take most of your time if I gave you even a small overview. As you can see across the street at our lot, we're loaded with blue tractors, red balers, yellow forage equipment. The big items probably this year is the new forage harvester we have, and a couple models of our larger tractors. But everything we have in the lot here has a meaning to be here, so I'd encourage anybody who does come out to take a look at not only the tractors, but I think a very attractive new, unusual set of tents here that I think to me show the word progress.
Well, we're so used to seeing, and the media tent still has the blue and white stripe traditional tent, but yeah, in your exhibit you've got, they basically look like, I think you even said it first, the yellow round tents. They're kind of like an igloo almost in appearance, and some pretty big balloon towers here. I'm not sure just how we describe them, but they're all showing the new New Holland agriculture logo.
Yes, and it's deliberate. They're very bright igloos, as you say, and today with 90-some degrees, I think we're all wishing they were igloos.
And made of ice so we could stand in them.
But it is a very, very attractive site, I can say, without question. I'm sure it draws a lot of attention on the site, but it does help illustrate the new New Holland logo that we are presenting to the public.
Well, and besides the big equipment, which everybody likes to see and get their hands on and learn more about, you also are showcasing your commitment, I guess, to the biofuels industry, specifically biodiesel, with a very unusual vehicle that's on display in your exhibit.
Right, and our promotion of biodiesel is 20 years old, really. We've been involved with biodiesel in some way or another for 2 decades, but this year we have a vehicle here that is still in the process of being completed. It's about 55% completed, but the shell of it is complete. It's a new concept car developed by Jay Leno. I understand now from the Jay Leno staffer here that it's getting close to $4 million invested in the car already, and they still have electronics to put into it. But the unusual thing about the car is that, and what drew our interest, is that it operates on 100% biodiesel. In other words, as Jay Leno says, I'll drive the car till it runs out of fuel, and I'll wait for the next soybean harvest to come in, and I'll take it out for a spin again. But it shows Jay's commitment to the alternative industry and his commitment to alternative fuels that will help relieve the pressure of imports on our economy here.
Well, tomorrow we're going to have a special guest here, the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, Mike Johans, and I know he's going to make a stop to specifically see that vehicle. It would be kind of nice if we had the keys and he could hop in there and take it for a little spin around Progress City here, but I know that's not going to happen. We do have paved streets, though, so it could work, but maybe next year. Well, looking towards the media, and we are sitting in the media tent, I speak for, I'm sure, everyone else that's here in saying we appreciate what New Holland has done for 20 years now in sponsoring this great place for us to work here while we're at the Farm Progress Show. Tell me just a little bit about, every year is different, but your perspective on media attendance and participation this year.
Well, the media attendance always seems to top well over 100 reporters, journalists, broadcasters from around the world, actually. Just as we have many of our reporters going to shows in Paris, SEMA, and Germany and other countries. We have a good contingency of South American reporters here, European reporters, and that's always been constant. The things that have changed over the 20 years that we have sponsored this media tent, of course, is 20 years ago we had 30 typewriters and nobody even knew what the word internet meant. And of course now you can't go buy a typewriter, and we've got wireless internet going throughout the tent. And 20 years ago we had 15 telephone lines and 15 telephone instruments. And this year we have 15 telephone lines and no instruments, because people like yourself are connecting them to broadcast equipment or to computers. And so the whole technology revolution in how the information gets to the farmer has changed, and we've watched it change over the 20 years. But I've been telling several people today who've asked me the same question, what has stayed the same in 20 years? And that's the broadcasters themselves, the journalists. There's a camaraderie in agricultural media that is different than any other industry that I've ever seen, where the media, the journalists, the broadcasters in agriculture actually feel like, and justifiably so, that they are part of the agricultural process. You're not just reporting on it, you're a part of the process, and you're part of what's making it work. And that hasn't changed over 10 years, 20 years.
Well, and when you talk about the new technology and communications, I mean, that's just a reflection of the new technology that's on display here in agriculture, for everything from seed technology to farm chemicals, and of course equipment like new combines and tractors, and the guidance systems that are now running those, that are getting their bearings from a satellite, you know. So it is a real reflection of how technology has changed all over, and our communications and media business is really no different.
Right. You take agricultural equipment, you know, it's gone through various phases over the course of the mechanization of agriculture. To the first roles were to try to, you know, take away some of the back-breaking chores of agriculture when Henry Ford invented the tractor. And slowly a lot of those back-breaking chores were changed, and then the emphasis started to shift towards the operator comfort, getting the decimals down in sound, getting the little bit more comfortable to operate the equipment, and many smaller changes through the years too of the mechanization. But right now, you're right, the driving force now is the technology and what we can make these vehicles do in global guidance, the combination of global guidance systems and robotics. To we've had relationships with consortiums of robotics, and even with NASA at one time, to help develop equipment that could just go out and do the jobs itself. So it's amazing the technology that people will see in modern farm equipment.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've got a lot of it on display here at the Farm Progress Show. It's a nice, warm, toasty day, as it certainly is here, even in the shade of the media tent. But we very much appreciate New Holland being the sponsor, not only for the media tent, but for AgWired coverage. I'm Chuck Zimmerman here at the Farm Progress Show in Decatur, Illinois.